Action SA has condemned system failures at Parliament. While a report on the fire is still being compiled, it appears fire suppression systems in the precinct were only activated after firefighters were already on the scene. For the very latest, my co-anchor Annika Larson is down at Parliament. Let's cross live to her now. I was quite shocked, Annika, when we were listening to your conversation with JP Smith, who's the MACO member for safety and security for the city of Cape Town, saying that firefighters were already on the scene working for about 20 minutes before the fire suppression mechanisms kicked in.
It sounds like the perfect storm just waiting to happen, Taps. If this fire started at the bottom of the precinct and the ventilation from the air conditioners, which should have tripped as soon as the fire started, if those had been tripped and had not been left on in the first place, it's very unlikely, according to JP and firefighters we've chatted to on the scene, that the fire would have managed to sweep up to the top of the National Assembly chamber, which is where the vast damage is. We've seen photographs and it's absolutely gutted. There is very little left, in fact nothing, and I wouldn't be surprised if that structure is incredibly vulnerable right now. They're not letting anybody inside because it's just too volatile and too dangerous for anybody to be allowed in. I think only possibly for forensic teams at a later stage. On top of that, Taps, as you said, the fire warning system allegedly only going off 20 minutes after firefighters arrived on scene, and the water plug for the fire system valves, the sprinkler valves, allegedly switched off. So, you know, how could this not have happened, been an accident waiting to happen? Look, this is all anecdotal evidence at this stage. We need to wait for a final report, but things don't look good at this stage. It looks as if, you know, how did someone get onto the precinct too? This is a national key point. So all those, that kind of intelligence needs to be taken into account, especially if there is CCTV footage. But something I wanted to reflect on, Taps, which I think many members of the public don't realize, and I've just seen it before my eyes again, is during my time here at Parliament, I would watch the performance and the theatrics that were put on during the State of the Nation address, especially during the time of the tenure of the Jacob Zuma presidency. People throwing things at one another, looking like mortal enemies on the benches, fierce debates going into almost sort of really vicious name calling, and it was always quite vexatious, actually. That's not really how Parliament is, and that's where I'm going to bring in Fakie Mentor from Action SA. Fakie, thank you so much for your time this morning. You know, Parliament is really where people actually put aside their differences. I saw you talking now to Pemi Majidina, the ANC chief whip. You left the ANC. You two can still have a discussion, a very friendly discussion where you actually say to each other, my sister, we have differences, but I still love you. And that really is what Parliament is like. It's about open debate amongst individuals from all different political parties. It's not really what we see on TV. It's a very vibrant, beautiful space.
Yes, that is how it's supposed to be, actually, because we are not enemies. We are meant to work together to make South Africa a better place for all of us. So there should not be any animosity. There should be mutual respect. And actually, when I was ANC chair of caucus, that is what I used to preach. I would say to them, I would not lead a caucus that is forever treating people with disrespect. As you correctly say, the disrespect amongst parliament members is a very worrying thing, and all of us as South Africans were extremely concerned about it, and it has been incremental since the presidency of President Zuma. I'm not surprised that we have arrived where we have arrived at, because in the first place, if a national leader who is a parliamentarian is not respectful to a colleague, they don't respect anything. They don't respect property. they don't respect anyone. They don't respect employees. And South Africa is really broken, and it has been broken from the top, from the leaders, leading by bad example. Hence, we have so much violence in our country today, gender-based violence, violence in society, because the people imitate the leaders, and we need to re-ingrain respect. Even if we differ, we have to differ with respect.
But you can still talk to a former comrade of yours with deep respect, but have absolute differences.
Yes.
That is actually how Parliament is
supposed to be.
Here. And,
yes.
And it often is, I found in my
yes.
experience. Fakey, let's stick to the fire issue now. What are your thoughts on the electrical systems, and do you think that proper protocol was followed in terms of recommendations made to make this key point as fireproof as possible?
I don't think that enough care and protection has been afforded, and I wonder what's happening with other national key points. I mean, this is supposed to be, Parliament is supposed to be sacrosanct. Whether it's in recess or it's not in recess, it must be the most guarded, the most maintained, because our constitution begins by saying we the people, and later refers to Parliament as an institution that should serve the people. Now you can see just how Parliament is, if ever it was really neglected over a period of time. But I would not want to speculate into what really happened. We will wait for the report, but we will plead with the NPA and with the investigators that we don't want to see a repeat of the 3 years of the Zondo Commission, where evidence is laid bare. Nobody is arrested. Only Vincent Smith after so far. It's neglect of important buildings, neglect of serving of the people, not serving them. It's a cumulative thing. It has been coming on for years. It's so damning that anybody can walk into a national key point, one of the key points in the country, and do as they please. And that the sprinklers did not kick in, whatever needed to kick in did not kick in. It could be a negligence over a period of time. It could be a number of days when the people were switching off anything that should switch on automatically to save whatever. We will know at the end of the investigation, but it's very, very curious.
Are your officers okay?
Sorry?
Are your officers okay? Your parliamentary officers?
No, I'm not yet in Parliament. I came here just to do the interview.
Okay, I'm just wondering about, you know, your...
Remember, Action SA is not yet we have not yet contested at national level, so we don't have an office in Parliament. We only have offices in the municipality that we recently
I got you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Fakey Mentor from Action SA. She's putting her 2 cents worth in here, and I suppose she was at Parliament for so many years in the ANC that she has come here really to pay her respects. But Taps, this whole area behind me now is going to be declared a crime scene because the hawks have taken over, which means it's very unlikely that we are going to get access onto the precinct, even to see, or even those journalists and MPs who need to get onto it to see what damage has been done to their offices. We'll have to wait for the police to give the go-ahead for that. And firefighters are moving in and out of here on a regular basis, still dampening down and making sure that those hot spots are kept damp, because there are so many there are so many flammable goods in this building. It is wood, it is carpeting, it is ancient books. I mean, books line nearly every corner of the upstairs section of the National Assembly chamber here. So firefighters, I should think, will be on scene for quite some time. Taps.
Yeah, firefighters on the scene now, and then the forensic work will begin in earnest. 98% of the new assembly building absolutely gutted from what we've heard so far. Thanks, eNCA Larson. We'll be connecting with her throughout the morning as she's at the parliamentary precinct. Still ahead.